When you think about the Street Fighter series, what are some of the first things that come to mind? Is it its roster of eccentric characters, or maybe spending hours practicing combos so you can have an edge on your opponents? Well, regardless of how you answered, I'm pretty sure none of you thought about cooking.
It's super dynamic cooking time!
Okay, well, maybe except for El Fuerte here. But anyways, cooking is probably the last thing that comes to mind when I think about Street Fighter. But for author Victoria Rosenthal, that clearly wasn't the case, because she's managed to write an entire cookbook based on Street Fighter. Street Fighter, the official street food cookbook, contains over 80 recipes based on the legendary fighting game franchise. See, it says so right here on the cover. Now, I bet you're asking, how do you make a recipe, let alone an entire cookbook based on Street Fighter? Well, the author came up with a pretty clever solution to this question. The book follows Sakura as she travels the globe in hopes of receiving advice from other fighters. The recipes in the book are either a traditional dish from Sakura's current location, one of the fighters' favorites, or an original recipe created by one of the fighters. The recipes include appetizers, desserts, drinks, and entrees. And the difficulty can range from really simple, like these Crimson Viper inspired chili dogs, to the more difficult, like these cupcakes inspired by Cammy. Each recipe also includes a convenient little difficulty meter. Now the real question is, are any of these actually any good? Well, let's find out. I figured I'd start off with something simple, and what better way to start off than with a drink called a Hadouken. To start, you create a simple syrup by combining 3/4 of a cup of sugar with a half a cup of water. Bring that to a boil, then let it simmer for about 5 minutes. Then remove the syrup from the heat and let it cool to room temperature. Once it's cooled, mix the syrup with 1/4 a cup of lemon juice, 2 tablespoons of lime juice, and 1/4 of a cup of yuzu extract. I was able to find some online, but it's a bit pricey. After you get all that mixed together, cover and refrigerate it for at least 12 hours. The remaining syrup can be stored for up to 2 weeks. Next, fill a shaker with ice. Add 2.5 ounces of the yuzu syrup from earlier. Then add 1 ounce of curacao syrup. Excuse my pronunciation if that's not right. This stuff is also readily available online. Alright, now cover the shaker and shake it for about 10 seconds. Note this recipe calls for alcohol, but I'm making a virgin version. Now strain and pour it into a glass. Then add about 3 ounces of club soda. Alright, now this might be my favorite recipe I tried so far. The flavor is, I don't know, it's kind of hard for me to describe. It's real citrusy, but it's like exotic. Pretty much tastes like the best soda on earth. Of course, I had to follow up the Hadouken with a Shoryuken. Now this is a Japanese twist on the Italian affogato, just replacing an espresso with matcha. So we start with 1.5 teaspoons of matcha powder. Then we add 1/2 cup of hot water. It should be around 175 degrees. Then you gotta mix it really well to make sure there aren't any lumps in it. Then in a large cup, add 2 or 3 scoops of vanilla ice cream. Then to that, we add 2 matcha flavored Pocky. Then pour the matcha over the ice cream. Or you can pour it all over your counter like I just did. I wouldn't recommend that though. You can top this with 2 tablespoons of azuki beans if you like. I omitted this part though. I'm not really a fan of beans in my desserts. But please give it a try and leave a comment below on how it turns out. For this recipe to be so simple, I was really surprised by how good it was. I mean, the sweetness of the vanilla ice cream and the bitterness of the matcha, they really complemented each other. And the added crunch of the Pocky really brought it all together. Alright, next I'm making Blanca's pineapple pound cake. First we gotta combine 2.5 cups of all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, and a half a teaspoon of salt in a medium bowl. Then in a separate bowl, combine a cup or about 2 sticks of softened unsalted butter, and 1.5 cups of sugar. Mix it until it's smooth. Then we add 3 eggs, and a teaspoon of vanilla extract. I forgot to combine all the dry ingredients. Then mix all the wet and dry ingredients together. Make sure to use a larger bowl than I did so you don't have trouble mixing everything. Then add 1 cup of crushed pineapple, 1/2 a cup of yogurt, and 1/2 a cup of coconut milk. Mix everything until it's smooth. Now prepare a bundt cake pan with some cooking spray. Add the batter to the pan and put it in a 350-degree oven for about 45 to 55 minutes, or until a toothpick comes out clean. Alright, now for the icing. Combine 1.5 cups of confectioner's sugar, 2.5 tablespoons of lime juice, and 2 tablespoons of pineapple juice. Mix everything up until it's smooth and you can put it away for now. Alright, the cake is about ready. Make sure to wait at least 10 minutes before removing the cake from the pan. And for the topping, mix about 1/2 cup of fresh chopped pineapple. And a zest of 2 limes. Now that the cake is cooled, you can drizzle on the icing that you made earlier. Then top it with the fresh pineapple lime mixture. Now this was outstanding. The cake was really rich and buttery, and it was perfectly balanced by the pineapple and lime. I'm not too familiar with the author's background in the culinary arts, but she must really know her stuff. I'm probably going to be making this one a few more times. Alright everybody, thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time.